Tonight, another stunning rejection of far-right nationalism in Europe. For the first time in 16 years, Hungary will have a new leader. Despite the efforts of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to get out the vote, Viktor Orban conceded defeat to his opponent this weekend, with the opposition party securing a supermajority in parliament. Orban is the Trump administration's closest ally in Europe, and he tried to win votes by stoking fear that Hungary could be dragged into a war with Ukraine. With thousands descending upon Budapest in celebration, the winner told the crowd of supporters that together they liberated Hungary from the Orban regime. Margaret Donovan is back with us, and it does kind of deal an important blow to the Trump administration. They've been trying to create a wedge between Europe and Hungary specifically, and it failed.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty sound rejection of that by the people of Hungary. I'm not sure how much we can use it as a bellwether for sort of like a larger statement, because I think I read Hungary is roughly the size of New Jersey, right? So that's not a huge sample size. But it is pretty indicative. It's an odd place to say I'm glad that the person the United States supported abroad was not the person that won. But I do think, particularly with what Orban had done to the judiciary system of Hungary, that's sort of like a worst case scenario of something that would happen in the United States, expanding the Supreme Court, basically getting rid of judges who should have had life terms. And so I think that we can look at that rejection of corruption. I think that that's a positive sign, but like I said, kind of approach it with some caution because it isn't that large of a sample size.
I think the thing that's interesting, though, you're talking about the Hungarian people, and I think that's the thing that I would like to remember from this. Like, the reason this happened was because of the Hungarian people. They came out at over 80%, and that's even with the rewriting of their constitution, even with the takeover of the media, even with the courts and the election interference, even with foreign interference. Orban couldn't overcome the people's participation, and they won their freedom from that regime. And I think that's something that Americans can remember, too, as we go into this next year and the next 2 years, because this regime failed because of the will of their people. I think that's really important.
What I find positively bizarre from the administration's case is that obviously they're invested in the post-liberal project, but Magyar, the guy who won, is not a left-winger.
No, he's right.
Yeah, he's anti-immigration. What he seems to be is an Atlanticist, which elements of the administration don't like him. Pro-NATO. Which elements of the administration don't like.
Pro-democracy as well, which I think is fundamental to
this
why
administration is lobbying NATO for support in its foreign affairs. This administration needs a stronger NATO and a stronger NATO committed to the Atlantic Alliance right now. So isn't this advancing its prospects?
No, because he wasn't part of the group, that crew that's like all together.
J.D. Vance talked about this tonight. Let me play what he said.
One of the reasons why we decided to do that, Brett, is not because, we can't read polls. We certainly knew there was a very good chance that Viktor would lose that election. We did it because he's one of the few European leaders we've seen who's been willing to stand up to the bureaucracy in Brussels that has been very, very bad for the United States. So, for example, when you see a European bureaucrat go after an American company, sometimes the only vote no, the only vote to protect that American interest has been Viktor Orban. So this wasn't about Russia, and fundamentally it wasn't about Europe. It was about the United States and the fact that he's been a good partner to both me and the president personally, but also to the United States.
So, tear down Hungary's democratic guardrails, fine, as long as you're standing up to Brussels.
I don't, first of all, on an American first kind of nationalism perspective, I don't even understand why they use the political capital there in the first place. That's first. But just delving into like the politics of where we are, like the inside baseball, somebody that in the Trump world does not like J.D. Vance. I mean, if you were going to say we didn't think we were going to win anywhere, would they send him? I mean, they could have sent Kristi Noem over there, for God's sake. I mean, they could have sent anybody over there but J.D. Vance. I mean, I think J.D.
Shield of America?
I think J.D. Vance is going to have a hard time recovering because right now it looks like the fool's errands are what they put J.D. Vance on.
No. I think this election, quite frankly, about somebody who's been in power too long. People, once you're in there, he's 16 years. Like, people want change. I think it would have been much better play if he had brought someone in and said, hey, this is who I would like to come in, a younger person, and get a younger person in there to lead the country.
Why are we involved in
No,
that?
I'm talking about.
I got you. Oh, I get that.
I'm just saying, I think you're right.
You're probably right.
In which case, again, why would the Trump administration expend their political capital on that?
That's what I just said.
Because they're loyal, and I think Viktor was loyal to them about things, and so they stepped up when they needed to do it. And I think it's no more than that. Like you said, we knew he was going to lose, but we went over there anyway and did that.
It was a joke.
you very much for being here. Next, two congressmen accused